Hello YouTube. I went through this entire video and it didn't record. I was so bummed out, so I'm going to do this all over again. What we're doing is we are strolling through Donna's Yellowstone reading where I left off at yesterday when I did my video. It was after Lori, Alex, JJ, and Tylee had exited the West Yellowstone exit, which is familiar from that probable cause affidavit. They end up going to a restaurant, and it sounds like from there, Lori ends up using a payphone. So who she calls is anyone's guess, probably Chad. From there, we are going to carry on. I'm going to skip past a certain amount of this because it talks about a warehouse, which there is a connection. I think it's a warehouse. I've tried to make sense of it, and it sounds like it's a warehouse, and it's some connection to Chad. And if you know what she's talking about, please let me know. I've heard about it, but I don't have enough information to relay it to you guys. I just have to keep digging. And I've been digging into the bowels of Reddit, and I still can't quite get that detail. This reading was done on March 28th, 2020. I chose this particular Yellowstone reading just because it was 3+ months ago. The last place that Tylee was seen at was Yellowstone with her family. And so a lot of people had concluded that, maybe she had fallen victim of one of these natural occurring elements in the park itself, like a glacier, a hot spring, whatever's in there. I've never been there. And we know because of Donna that was not the end of the road for Tylee. And there was more that happened, but just a little bit more. So in this segment, you're going to hear some very graphic detail as to how Lori and Alex, and Donna does say it's Lori and Alex, who completely brutalize her and ultimately end up killing her. And Tylee suffered, and that's the overall theme of this, that Donna conveys in her reading. And by the way, you'll hear her, but she's actually on the phone with a family member of Charles. So when she's talking, that's who she's talking to, just so that you know. Let's go ahead and carry on. Let's get to the details here. But yeah, just a caution, if you have small kids in the room, I would certainly, not let them hear this. It's pretty gross. And here we go.
When Lori and them took their lives, and I got chills all over my body, so I hate to be saying this to you, but
and real quick, when she talks about chills, that's just her confirmation from the spirit world that what she's saying is spot on. So it's their way of giving her like yeah, you got it right.
Okay, for sure. I feel like going into the saying that psychics could be wrong and hold the hope till the end, but I feel like crying when I feel like saying that. So I'm just going to say what I see and then not, try to, but, well, no, I have emotions. I'm actually crying. I'm.
Could you imagine how hard it would be to see children being killed and visualizing the brutality, the exact way that they were killed? It's got to be just the most horrendous thing in the world because children are so precious, and imagining anything less than good for kids is just like, it's really disturbing.
What it is they murdered them not at the exact same time. And one thing I had wondered was, well, did they murder JJ at the condo, somewhere else, or whatever? And I'm not 100% sure yet the location, but I am 100% sure exactly how they did it and what they did. What I'm sure of is that they disposed of both bodies in the same general area. And, okay, I'm going to say all this stuff. He wants me to say this stuff. What I am sure of was that Chad chose this area.
She hits the nail on the head right there. She knows that Chad was the link to the disposal part. So Lori and Alex, they took care of the killing, but Chad is the one who took care of the burial, more than likely. I know Alex probably helped a little bit with that, but it was Chad who was the cemetery sexton. He had that under his belt. And he had already been, I mean, let's face it, he had been desensitized to death, just being in that field alone, I'm sure.
Okay, so what they did with Tylee, and it was just horrible. And then that felt like, okay, oh, this is huge. Okay, so that felt like the only people there, like, Chad wasn't there. There wasn't two men. There was only, it felt to me in what I saw, I only saw one man, and I saw Lori. And I make the assumption that it's Alex because I didn't know Alex. I make the assumption that it's Alex because the picture with Alex, and because the guy's just like got the energy of a slug, a human slug. And so, and I got chills about that from Charles. If they ended up bringing JJ back home or whatever, the reason why could be because of all the time they spent doing what they did with Tylee. And otherwise they...
Right there, she knows that what they did to Tylee, first of all, happened first. And, you know, I don't know that she knows this at this point, but it happened about 3 weeks earlier or so, maybe 2 weeks. And she also knows that they murdered her, and then they cut her body into, sorry, I know it's graphic, into small pieces. And Chad then distributed them, she's saying, throughout the yard. They buried some. We know that from the probable cause affidavit. And they possibly did other really disgusting things to dispose of her body.
I had planned on doing it right away too, but where they brought his body again, and then you said the word dumped, and so that could have been the big chill. If she murdered him there, and it was Lori, if you want to know.
She knows it was Lori.
Yeah, and it was with Tylee, it was equally Lori and Alex. It wasn't only Alex, and it wasn't mainly Alex. Actually, it was both of them. And
let's revisit that probable cause one more time. So we know that. So after Yellowstone, Cox then returned to Rexburg at approximately 8:37. The phone is then at Lori's apartment 175 until 21:35. So what is that? 9:35. At which time Cox appeared to go to a Maverick on Main Street in Rexburg at 21:43 until 21:53. Cox then went back to Lori's apartment from 22:44 to 23:15. So that's 11:15. Then here's what's odd. At 23:44. Cox is located at his residence in apartment 107. So that is almost midnight. On Monday, September 9th, so from 12 a.m. to 12:44, Cox's phone was located at his apartment. However, in the middle of the night, at 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m., Cox is located again at Lori's apartment 175, where Lori lived with Tylee and JJ. This is significant, not only because he is there in the middle of the night, but also because it is the only time in September he appears to go over to Lori's between midnight and 6 a.m. And that's when Donna's saying they killed her in a very, very awful way.
At the same time, they both had this planned. They got Tylee to walk somewhere or do something, and Lori... It feels now like a metal pipe, but I know a week ago or something it felt like a piece of wood, like a branch, but it feels...
So the specifics she's not 100% sure about because she's seen a lot of different methods, but she does know, she makes it very clear, Lori and Alex killed her, they did this, this, and this. Now the instruments they used, they probably used many, because it sounds like they were just doing what they had to do to, unfortunately, end her life.
more like, and when I was doing it for 3 whole hours last night, it felt to me like Lori had a metal pipe or some metal, police batons hit hard. Something really like that. And at the exact same, and Alex had rope in his pocket, and it's like they planned it. They got Tylee like, oh, come here, we want you to see see this or whatever.
So her belief right here is that they may have led Tylee by saying, "Hey, Tylee, let me show you something," or whatever it was. And when Tylee comes, let's say, into that room or into that place or out in that field, wherever it was, we don't know specifically yet. But that is where they pounced on her and they attacked her. And Lori, is beating her with a metal rod or something like that. And Alex has a rope, so he's strangling her. And so it was obviously a combined effort to end Tylee's life. And she, truly, what Donna's trying to get at is Tylee suffered. She suffered a terrible death. And then, as we know, even in the disposal of her, that was terrible too. And it should have never, none of this should have ever happened, but that's for another day. Tylee was never protected by anybody, and she just had, in a lot of ways, it sounds like she had a really hard life. So let's carry on.
And at the exact same time, Lori starts smashing her in the head, and Alex strangles her with a rope, and they are literally doing it at the same time. They push Tylee Alex pushes her face down. He's got his knee in her back, and he's just pulling the rope as tight as he can. And Lori is just continuously, literally bashing her head in. And the horribleness of this, even though it's so graphic and gross, is one thing people really need to know. This lady is so dangerous, it's not even funny.
Oh, yes, she is.
And Lori is Lori is the driving force, and I think that's been implied, but Lori is the driving force. So as the whole thing is going on, there's a point where Tylee suffered immensely. And she did suffer, and why I'm telling you and telling everybody is...
And we know she suffered. We know that her body was not even in one piece. What Donna gets into here in later parts that we will ease into is it sounds like they disemboweled her, which obviously they must have, right? But just knowing what we know now from that affidavit, but imagine the nature of that. That is so barbaric and just disgusting. And that Lori led that effort. What kind of a psycho could do that to anybody, first of all, but to their own flesh and blood, their own daughter? I personally couldn't harm a hair on my kid's head. And I don't think Lori felt even any guilt. Really, all she wanted was an unencumbered life, gallivanting around Kauai with her new husband, and she wanted to lead 144,000 to the end times. That's all she cared about. She cared about Chad, and she cared about her group of people and their worship of her, probably, because she always wanted to be important, right? I could go on for days about how sick this case is, but there's not enough time in the day. So we'll carry on. We've got just a few more minutes, and then we will end this video and go to the next as soon as I can.
As when Lori is sentenced, she needs to have the kind of sentence for people who made somebody suffer severely when they died. And it's more than that. It's if you kill somebody where their death it was very took a long time and was if you were going to kill, if she was going to kill her, why didn't she just poison her like sleeping pills? Like, really? Okay. But what they did took several minutes. It wasn't fast. These people, Tylee suffered immensely. So I'm saying that so that
I want to share with you just one last recap. that there is a clear period of time in the middle of the night on early morning, September 9th, and it looks like it's from 2:42 a.m. to 3:37 a.m. where Alex is in Lori's apartment 175. And what the heck was he doing in the middle of the night over at Lori's house, if not murdering Tylee? So Donna, you got it right. And I hope that you understand that we're so grateful to you for even having the courage to put this on the internet so that we could hear what really happened to these kids. I believe 100% that you saw details that nobody could have seen. And we're just like super grateful for you, Donna. So I hope if you're seeing this video, you know that. Anyway, I'm gonna get the last couple minutes, maybe minute, and then I'll have to move to the next. Here we go.
People understand the gravity and the levity of what they did to Tylee is deserving of life without parole. And I have chills on my legs. Like, this is why Charles and everyone, including I feel Tylee here too, but they always.
All right, so we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so if you want, and make sure you like and share it where you can. Let's get the message out. I really appreciate everybody that takes the time out of their day to watch the videos and just sort of process this with me. When I first became aware of how correct the details Donna had released in her videos were, when you compare it to the probable cause, I'm telling you, there was like a straight week where I could not stop talking about it or thinking about it or just trying to deal with it, because like I said, I was such a skeptic before that it was like, for me, it was almost like a paradigm shift in my whole thought process. So it was big. It was a really big deal. And maybe that's what's happening with you right now. Maybe you, your whole life, have not so much believed in things like this. But I mean, Donna shows enough evidence that she saw the whole picture. And she saw what happened to those children. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.